It is now.
Honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
I'm not strikers.
My cousin grooves me for it. But this is why I don't like Messi. This is the exact reason why I don't like Messi.
Do you see it as a? Do you see him as cheating?
No, I believe so.
Do you see him as him cheating the game? Do you feel like he's cheating the game
somehow? Because if you look at Ortega, right? Yeah, he molded off Ortega and all those type of players. Yeah, they were still classed as wingers.
Ortega's
because they didn't have the.
No way, I'm not having that.
They didn't have the. They weren't clinical enough to be called.
Ortega weren't a winger.
But you didn't want your tens to be that much of a goal scorer. You still wanted them to assist.
You still wanted them to protect the midfield.
Yeah. But they didn't score as much.
That's what you wanted them to do.
If they scored 10 to 12 in a season, that was classed as good.
But they were that's the time where your 9 scored 30 goals a season.
But that's my point. But when you're now number 10 is scoring more than your actual striker, you're now changing the element
of
what you want from a winger stroke striker.
The 10 then was different though, because you had the wingers, which were, when we were all growing up, right midfielders, left midfielders. No, we didn't hear wingers. We didn't really hear wingers. It was right midfielder, left midfielder. Get chalk on your beats. Don't even bother getting in the box. Cross it in. That was it. When I was playing football, I was Jermaine Pennant.
Yeah.
Get out there. Don't bother coming inside and help the right back defend.
Don't even beat your man.
So if you're 10,
and Barca changed all of that.
Yeah, Barca changed it as a whole, as a establishment. But it's like Messi is now the blueprint of everything.
Messi didn't do anything that Ronaldinho did.
I personally do think Messi's the best player ever.
I agree.
Everyone's going to agree except for me. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think you would agree. The conversation for me is weird because obviously we're talking about players a lot of the time that we never had the benefit of watching on a week-to-week basis. So people are going to say Maradona. You didn't see when Maradona had an off game. You didn't see when Maradona basically...
You just see his greatest hits.
I don't hold... This is what people don't realise about me. I don't hold Messi's off games as a benchmark to say that why he's not the best player I've ever seen.
Very interesting to me the other day, and we can use the stats debate to preface any argument. Like, stats are obviously one of those things that you manipulate to whatever agenda you want to push. But since Messi has been Messi, I don't think he's gone more than 3 games without scoring.
And that's great. That's great news.
But that's
mad. And that's actually mad. But
that is mad.
This is what I'm saying. It's the argument.
You can say the same about Ronaldo. Although Ronaldo, we saw for the first half of the season, Ronaldo didn't score. Yeah. But for the last 10 years, I don't think Messi's gone more than 3 games without scoring a goal.
But and that's true. I'm not.
What is it? What is it to do? Is it like you want is it entertainment? Is it like techers? Is it goals? Is it a mixed bag? Because when you look at Messi gives you. Now I am genuinely undecided, like in terms of where I place him, because I am a bit of a footballing oddball in terms of the players that I like. Like Messi just isn't one of those players that I think, oh okay, like I would tune in to watch him. Like I've had the ability to watch Spanish football for however long. I choose not to.
No.
I would choose not to. Not like as an Arsenal fan, no one has given me more enjoyment in the last 10 years than watching Suarez for Liverpool, because he just used to do things that you'd think, why are you even doing that from there? Like heading the ball in, from the top outside. Bins from somehow try to chest that down or flick it or knock it. Man, try head the thing in. I remember the goal against Newcastle, like 50, 60, 70 yard ball.
And there's
controls it, goes round the keeper in like 2-3 yards, slides it in. Like, although Messi is he's one of the best without a doubt, I think there's only so much to the fans that you can see the same thing, which is in out, curl it into the bottom right corner.
as
or
much.
to the keeper's bottom right.
That goes more to my point, because people will say that he was just born with that talent.
Yeah,
But if you watch him play, I feel like I've watched this game a million times.
See, that's where I get
if you
you.
If you look at what football and the artistic form of football is, you shouldn't be able to do the same thing every single
But
time.
then on the same
because
hand-
it's still an individual game of
No, it's
not
a team game.
everybody.
It's a team game. This
is.
is what a lot of people forget. People are always going to put that added element of he couldn't do what he does anywhere else. Look at him for Argentina. That's fine. However, this is a team game. Everyone's played team. Like anyone that's played the game at the highest level has had to operate for international and club. So it's very rare where you find players that can produce the same level of, I wouldn't even say consistency, performance, and have the same level of influence both internationally and at club level.
Okay.
Like for instance, Ronaldo is probably a lot of our favourite striker.
Yeah.
He's
I think he's everyone's favourite.
Especially anyone that grew up in the 90s or the mid to late 90s. He holds a special place amongst all football fans because he's the first time we saw someone move the way that he did in terms of super rapid with the ball and without the ball, had the element of super technique and could finish with the best of them. Normally the archetypal number 9s back then were, I wouldn't say Pipo Inzaghi, but a lot of them operated like Gary Lineker, like off flick-ons,
Finish off moves.
Finish off like tap-ins basically. Ronaldo was the first time we saw, and again, it's not the first time, but to do it at the level that he did it for such a consistent number, even though the injuries kind of, but when Ronaldo was fit, he did what he did. So for me, we can look at players like George Weah. They're all very similar types of strikers, but Ronaldo was just the cleanest version of them all. Because you go back and you look at George Weah. George Weah was doing exactly the same things Ronaldo was doing, but he just didn't look as aesthetically pleasing on the ball doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, you look at Messi and what Messi's been able to do over a prolonged number of years. People are going to obviously use the international argument, but for me, it's like, you said, why should he be able to do what he does? But at the same time, you also have to take into consideration people haven't been able to stop him doing the same thing, which again, for me, points to his, I call it genius, innit? Because
What's genius about it?
we've all played football, innit?
We've all played pro.
Don't
We
you
all played
think-
pro, and there was a stage in pro where it's like we clocked it. There was a stage, I think it was like Pro 6, I think it was. When you got Saviola,
Yep.
and you can cut in,
Yep.
and you can literally bang it top corner. You could do the exact same thing with Roberto Carlos, and do the exact same thing. And it didn't matter what defense you had, what goalkeeper you had, but it felt like the game was rigged to a point. Once you knew you knew that real sweet
Makes me
point
think of Adriano times.
Yeah.
to
Pro
press
6.
square with a little bit of finesse on it. You knew it was like, you knew once you tapped it, everyone used to put their hands up like it's a goal.
Yeah, like,
And as much as you might say that no one was born with that gift of playing computer like that,
don't you think
just learn there was a little glitch in the game where you knew you could take advantage of it, right?
But that's, for me, you should applaud those things. I think we've grown up in such a, like, in terms of, for me, everything we super, like, probably guilty of it myself in a lot of instances where we're quick to cast aspersions or criticize things and not necessarily look at it from an outside perspective and say, well, he's doing something that we haven't seen before. Obviously you have Cristiano Ronaldo, but in terms of the overall complexity, like I said to someone the other day that Cristiano Ronaldo is the most prolific goal scorer we have ever seen.
yeah.
He tried to argue and say that Messi scored more goals. Messi hasn't scored more goals than Ronaldo, but in terms of by the term prolific, I mean, we saw Ronaldo, we saw Shevchenko, we've seen all of Romario, we've seen all of these strikers. We look at the levels that Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi have taken. Like Ronaldo scored 50 plus goals 5 seasons in a row. Like we're not like, remember the benchmark. Like Alan Shearer was doing bits when he scored 30 goals 3 seasons in a row. People were looking at him like he was the best thing since sliced bread. Ronaldo scored 50. No, he didn't get to 50.
No,
Them man
one
were
season he
hitting
scored 63, wasn't it? Something
He's
like for
scoring
Mourinho.
for fun. So for me, we're not giving
So
them
you-
the proper accolades in terms of they're taking the record books and they are totally ripping them up.
So now,
and at the same time,
and if you're gonna look at numbers,
no one's even close.
if you're gonna look at numbers and record books, right? It's only gonna get broken again, right?
That's
Within the next 5
see,
to
but
10
that's
years.
I think
It will,
here
because
that's performance.
with science, with all of these things, you're going to get more efficient out of any input that you put out. Anything you put in, because of science, because of all these extra things that we're gonna add into sport, you're going to get more efficiency. So now we got to strip away what. If you're gonna judge people on an equal level, you got to judge them on a playing field of what did they bring before all of this, of science, all these things that you can now practice on a regular
that boils
basis.
down to, like, you can't cross generationally. Like, for me, it's not fair.
You
innit?
won't be
Because
able to fully cross reference, but you can look at what they brought to the table before you can see the actual effect of them putting all of
Do
this.
you know why? The number one reason why this argument, like, it irks my spirit, and we've all had many lengthy discussions. Forget the goals, forget the stats, so to speak.
Yeah.
Messi is actually a very intelligent footballer.
yeah, everyone knows that.
In terms of, he knows teams will set up to stop him. He knows that tactically, sometimes it's best for him to just stand still. And I think a lot of the time for Barcelona, where
in unison with the right people.
but
Because when he
it's a
stands
team
still
sport
for
though.
Argentina,
You're only as good as the players around you. innit?
when he stands still for Argentina, it's not as effective. Do
Because-
you understand what the metaphor I'm trying to say?
I
to
hear you.
I'm saying to you, as intelligent as he is, he needs someone on equal or similar wavelength, right? Which I'm trying to equate to. I'm saying to you, there's players that have to adapt to whatever level of intelligence people have brought to them.
There's performance and then there's genius. I think they're two different things. And I think you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, you look at Messi, they've taken, in terms of performance, in terms of efficiency, they've
To a
taken
new
the
level
game
that
to
you
a new
can't
level.
equate. You can't equate
But
them. That's
in
why I
terms
can't
of-
judge them and say to you outlandishly and say they're not good enough. I'm just saying to you, for the word genius, you got to look at people that are playing with literally scraps and bones and made something really.
Like if you take
That's what you
let
said.
me
Go on. Yeah.
take an example. Like someone like Del Piero,
Yes.
right, is a certain level of genius because he was Harold. I know Riz, you're gonna know Harold when he got his serious injury.
21. Like,
Before that, he was a prodigy,
yeah.
right? And then he had to completely change his game,
Yeah, his whole game. Yeah.
his entire game. Did that for however many years and was able to produce however many moments of continued magic and consistent genius. Like if you're taking Messi and fine, you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing because it equals a specific result. Like you have to take into account the way the guy's thinking. He knows that's going to equal goals for him. He plays usually a lot of the time, as he's grown older anyway, he plays to receive, to get into those positions to put the ball away. And that's great. But I see genius as, you know you can, but you don't. You try something else because it just might work.
Can I ask a
I see
question?
that, and that's just the way that I think. Go ahead.
So against Arsenal in the Champions League, where he could just slot the ball into the empty net, but he flicks it up and volleys it instead. Is that not genius?
That is genius. That is genius. But I feel like, how long ago was that? I feel like as Messi's gotten older, he's been 11 years a consistent performer. That was, I might be wrong.
2010, 11.
Okay.
There or thereabouts.
For 3-4 years, Messi was doing insane things. When he burst on the scene with Argentina, lobbing it off of the upright, like he was doing ridiculous things like magic. And I feel like now he got to a certain level. He knows he's able to do certain things, and you're not seeing anything new. Like if you were to take that same philosophy and apply it to anything else, apply it to music, because that's what you know a lot. So if you had someone like, perfect example, someone like Jay-Z, right? If he was doing the same thing, releasing the same, no, Drake is an even better example. Drake is someone who came out, did what he did. You hear the same sound continuously. Some people are going to say this is great because this is what we want to hear, but some people think, do you know what, let's see something else. We know you can do this. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. But you're in entertainment. Football is entertainment. You are supposed to entertain me. Us.
To wrap this up,
it's an art form. It's an art form.
Kind of wrap this up, because like I said,
we're not even supposed to be talking about this.
Go on forever about this debate. Like, he's just turned 31, so for me, where we've seen Cristiano Ronaldo take steps towards obviously changing his type of game, I feel that in the next I said this to you the other day, in the next 18 months, I don't necessarily see Messi adopting the same role for Barcelona, in terms of, you've seen them sign genuine wide players. They've got Dembele, they've got Malcolm, Coutinho, although he's more of a playmaker, so to speak, he operates off the left. And I just see Messi gradually, like, he's still going to be as important to the way that they attack and how they move around him, but
you're saying more control the tempo.
He's going to go into that real playmaker role and do exactly what everyone has not necessarily attributed him for, because I don't think he gets enough credit for, one, his passing, his decision making, and I'd say little cute things that obviously when you're operating at the highest level, people take for granted, like his appreciation of space, his awareness of what's going on around him, because sometimes, like I said, he'll move 2 yards to the left just so that another player can sneak in the back door, and he's not concerned with receiving the ball. Those are the things that I think a lot of people, casual football watchers, neglect to kind of give him credit for.
I agree, but I think that it's self-serving. So I think that it's self-serving. So I think, so we're hitting 31, right? We want to see another. I don't think anyone really wants to see another 3-4 years of Messi and Cristiano, but we're gonna get it.
I don't mind Cristiano. You would taking a dip. But.
Yeah, well, everyone wants to see Cristiano in Italy. He's doing something new. I think that's what everyone appreciates about him. But you take Messi as an example. I think in the next 3 years we'll see just how big his ego is. Can he drop deep and do that? Can he do that? Everyone knows he's able to do it. Does he want to do it? When it's crunch time, when the pressure's on, will he do it? And I think that's where you'll see, because if you drop into them positions, I don't think you can have an ego to do that. As much of every football player has an ego. Everyone does. But I think you'll see just
how much of an ego he has. And I think to change your game, does he have the drive Cristiano has? We'll see, I suppose, but he probably doesn't. So that's what Cristiano. They don't have different games. He doesn't have to worry about. He's not gonna drop deep into CM, but Messi can't cheat the game on the right wing any longer. Like, he can't do that. And again, that's probably a bit disrespectful, but you'll see in the next 2 or 3 years how good he is. Cristiano is doing it at 33. He's 33 right now, yeah? He's doing it at 33. He took half a season off last year, came back with a bang, won Champions League again. And that's how I personally view it. And no disrespect to them, but those two players in particular have been playing at optimum for the past 10 years.
You have to
no major injuries that could basically end their careers. So as much as people say they're taken football to an extraordinary level, it's not far from the levels of people that people still revere as the greatest footballers of all time. So when you look at that, and you look at how old was R9 when he got his major injury that threatened his whole career, and you're only surpassing them in an argument sense now.
Yeah.
And then people are gonna say that has no relevance. That has a lot of relevance when you're talking about the greatest player to touch grass, like literally.
Yeah.
You're talking about the greatest player you've witnessed with your own eye is only surpassing someone that has basically played 8 to 9 years not at his optimum best, arguably.
No,
And it's
I
like,
agree.
are you now gonna say that's so? My point is, of our generation, Messi is clearly the best, and I think he's taken football to a element of you have to be intelligent as well as have all the ability that he actually has. Because I feel like as a number 10, you could lack a lot of stuff as a number 10. Maybe
You need to be,
8, 9 years ago.
Yeah.
You can lack maybe pace. You could lack strength. You could be not much of a goal scorer. But I think he's brought that element of having all of that mixed in.
Yeah.
And now saying, now beat that. Now beat what I brought to the table, which is all of that mixed into one as a number 10. And there's no one that has done it on a consistent level to show you, to say, you know what? Yeah,
This
you're
is
right.
not a mock.
But you're right. Like, I don't disagree with people saying that what Messi's brought to the table is innovative and it's different to any other number 10 that has brought that. But at the same time, was he the most entertaining player I've ever watched in my life?
No, definitely not. Ronaldinho's probably going to be.
Probably every.
And was he literally the most naturally gifted person?
Who, Messi? He's definitely not. I don't think he's as naturally gifted as a lot of players out there. But again, that's a different argument because you can have hard work beats talent
So my point stands as
talent doesn't work hard.
As much as people will argue or dismantle what Ronaldinho brought to the game, which was 3 years of magnificence,
It's still quite.
There was still a level of ability shown in those 3 years that Messi hasn't quite got to. Is that fair to say? I'm just saying.
That statement in itself,
I think that's
brings
fair.
me to another argument that we're not going to have today. In terms of, you look at those 3 years, and then you mention Zinedine Zidane and his place in the pantheon.
Okay, that's definitely.
That's another argument because I know how you feel when you got full on it. I know how both of you fall on that one.
Yeah,
but
we'll unravel that one later.
I'm 75% on your side when it comes to the Zidane argument, but I do believe you two in particular, because I've had this conversation with both of you, you're very harsh on him.
Let's leave it. I don't even want.
So we're gonna have this argument.
We're definitely gonna have.
We're gonna bring that back another time. We're
definitely gonna have this convo.